Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me, Phantom Darkness 135, for a very special walkthrough. Today we're going to walk through how to create your own little video game with Python, which is an interpreted computer programming language. Really easy to use, great for beginners, and it was the first one I started learning. So I'm going to go ahead. The game I'm going to teach you to play is more like a template that I want you guys to use, if you're interested, to build your own simple game. And this game is incredibly simple. It's only a few hundred lines. Let me see. I think the line count's about 139, so less than a few hundred. And I'll show you the premise of it. The actual game itself is an inside joke. My let's see, run module. My history teacher is the star, and whenever we had a test, he would never tell us our grades out loud, but he would say whether we got the bear or the bear got us, Mr. Kirchgastner, a legend. And so I made a game dedicated to him, and it's really simple. All you got to do is hover over the bears, and if you hover over them for long enough, they explode/disappear, and if you can get all of them before more respawn, they infinitely respawn, so you have to just keep going until all of them are gone. And it can be harder than it looks, but it's incredibly simple, and I think it'll be a good foundation to show you guys how to program your own game. So I'm not going to go ahead and go through with, I kind of want you to see what happens when you win, if I can win. Alright, almost there. And while I'm at this, you should know that this will probably be a two-part video because it might take us a while. Yeah, I'm not going to wait. Basically, what happens when you win is it splashes "you win" on the screen, and that's the end. I'm going to be using Python version 3.30, the latest one. I actually built this program on the 2.7 version, I think. And here's a preview of the links I'm going to give you guys. The first link is the Python website to download Python. Very easy, it's free. Second link is the Pygame library, which is what you can use to build games like this. It has a lot of useful tools. Here's the third link, the Pygame Documentation, with all the different functions and classes you can use. The fourth link is probably the most important. This is the one it'll teach you Python very thoroughly, and it's really fun. And I don't have any music or very special things in this game. It's very simple, but this little guide here actually shows you how to add music, how to add background. You can do a lot more stuff with Python. It's a lot more powerful than what I'm going to show you, but I think this will be a good template, and it's going to be the right amount of time for us in a video to walk through what goes into it. And the fifth one is how to create an exe file from the Python script. As it is right now, you can only run it with Python, so whoever runs the application has to have Python on the computer. I haven't done this yet, but apparently you can use py.exe, and there's another program you can use to make it into an executable that you can play on any machine. So, with all that being said, we're going to start from scratch because I want to walk you guys line by line through it, what we're going to do. That's why it's going to take a long time, but hopefully you guys will enjoy this, and if you're interested in programming, this will be a good little introduction for you. So when you run Python, the Python GUI, which is graphic user interface, idle is the integrated development environment, right? Yeah, that sounds right. And that is what opens up. Now this, you can type and you can test stuff, but it's not a module. What we want to do is go to File, or I'm sorry, is it File? New Window, yeah, New Window. This will give us a blank slate for us to, let me make sure my microphone's working, that'd be terrible. Cool. This will give us a blank slate to work on and complete our game. Sorry, I thought I just unplugged myself. So the first thing we're going to do is, after you download Python and after you download Pygame, let me see if I can show you where the Pygame goes. So under your C in Python 33 it will be if you do 3.30. Under libs, or no, maybe it's a lib, libraries. You know what, maybe I should just, oh wait, maybe under tools. No, I'll just search for it. Pygame. I believe it's under the libraries. Yeah, it's under lib and then site packages. That's it. So Pygame is in there. That's where you download it to. It should, I think the website I gave you should download it automatically to the right place, but in case it doesn't, that's where it goes. And the first thing we're going to do is import Pygame, the library, the system library, the random library from Pygame. We're going to, or actually from pygame.locals, we're going to import this little asterisk, geez, asterisk right there. It symbolizes importing everything from that particular library. So from everything in Pygame locals, we're going to import there. And in case you're wondering what all these things are, from threading, we're going to import the timer. These are just libraries and functions that will help you do your game. Certain functions you can't use unless you have these imported. So you want to do that first. In Python, to make comments, you do a hashtag or a pound sign. So I'll be doing that to kind of indicate what we're going to do here. First thing we're going to do is set up Pygame and our clock. So Pygame, all you have to do is init, which initializes the module. Unlike C++ and other languages, you don't need any semicolons. It just does it by line. And for main clock, we're going to make a clock object from pygame.time.clock. Notice the capitalization. And that'll give us our clock, which we'll use in various ways. So the next thing we're going to do is set up the window. And I guess I can make this, oops, no. Make this bigger so you guys can actually, there we go. So we'll set up the window. We're going to make a couple constants for size, so it's, in case you're not computer programming savvy, when you make a constant, it's the orthodox way is making it all caps with underscore to separate the words. So window width equals 400, window height, we're just going to make it a square, so 400. Window surface, we're going to make a window surface object from pygame.display.setMode. This is telling it what size to make. Hold on, I'll explain the arguments in just a second. Oops. Do height. And then 0. Okay. So I'm going to put that back here. So that this function right here, the set mode, it takes two arguments, or actually three. The first is you want to put it in parentheses, the window width and the window height. And then the second one, I believe, oh, the third argument is a flag. And they have a couple constants to make it. The 0 means that this window will not be resizable, so the user will not be able to resize it. And then the last thing we're going to do to set up the window, going to set it to get the, capitalize it, get the bears. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is set up our color constants. So we'll do black. I think I only have a couple. I don't even think I used the second one, blue, in any of this, but it's there anyway, so I'll include it just in case. Black, blue, and this is in RGB, which is red, green, blue format. Basically each number, in case you're not familiar with it, each number here represents some degree of red, some degree of green, some degree of green and some degree of blue. So blue, 255, which is the size of a byte needed for that number. Don't worry about all that. Anyway, all you need to know is that 255 is about the max you can have, and so 255 is all the way blue. 000 is no colors, no red, no green, no blue. And you can make like yellow from mixing blue and red together and so on and so forth. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is set the winning text. And to do that, we're going to make a variable called text font. Pygame.font.sysfont. And you can use any font that is this is the size of the font, but you can use any font within the typical Windows system or the Mac system. You want to make sure you choose one though that most systems will have. For the sake of simplicity, we're just going to use impact for this one. And then we're going to make another variable called text that will hold what the text will be. So this just holds the font, and the next one is going to hold what the winning text will be. So it'll be you win, all caps. And then the next argument is anti-aliasing on. That makes it look a little better. And the final argument is what color. I'm going to make it like a really bright red, so not all the way red, but almost. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is set up our player and our bears. Oops. So, the player and the bears are actually just rectangles on the screen. And the first thing we're going to do is make a bear counter. And when this gets too high, it's going to respawn a bear, or it shouldn't get too high, that's right. So the bear counter keeps track of how many bears are on the screen. And if it's too high, it'll wipe out the screen, like if it's just covered in bears. But the point is to not get that far. I believe that's how I wrote it. It's been a while since I wrote this, a couple years. And then the new bear thing is just the limit of how many bears we want on the screen at a time. And then the bear size will be the width and height of the square, so 64. And then the player image, what you want to do with images, let me show you, is you want to make them, let me save this actually, first of all. So Python 33, I'm just going to save it as Pygame 2, which is the name of the first thing. And then when you go to your file, I'm going to go to my, here, you want to get any photos you want to use for players. I use PNG, and they are 64 by 64, so the actual size of the rectangle. And you want to copy them to the directory where the program is. So there should be one more bear. There it is. So we have 4 altogether because the pictures will change. We're going to copy them wherever the program is, which is right here. So that'll allow Python to know where they are. So player image equals, or gets the value of, come on, there we go. Player image gets the value of pygame.image.load kirch.png. Oops, it's capital, I think. And then player image 2 equals pygame.image.load. I think I just named it kirch2.png. Make sure you include the suffix on all of them. Bear image equals pygame.image.load topic bear. I guess that's the name of the photo I downloaded from. Need the apostrophe. Alright. And then finally, bear image 2. Also, it's worth noting that for variables, values that can change, this is called camel case. You basically make the first word of the variable lowercase, and the next words are uppercase at the first character. Just a little programming tidbit. Okay, so last one is pygame.image.load topic bear2.png. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to make player equals, we're going to make the rectangles for the actual pictures. So this is the dimensions of the rectangle, right? I'm looking at my script here, dimensions, and oh, I'm sorry. The first two are the location. So you have the location on the screen in pixels. So when you're looking at pixels, if you watch my mouse, going this way, the X position goes up, and going down, the Y position goes up. So the player will start at this position, and the 40/40 is the size, so 40 by 40. And then we're going to make a bear array, which is a collection of a bunch of similar objects of the same type. So I'm sorry, this is so bears, that little brackets there mean array, so you're assigning an array named bears. So for an integer in range 20, When you're doing a for loop, you use the semicolon to indicate that this is part of what you want the for loop to do. When you're going through a for, it means for an integer in the range of 20, you're going to bears. My script says foods because this is actually from another program I wrote. Pygame.rect int, and we imported the random module for this. So this is going to be a random value of integer between 0 and the window width minus the food size. So that basically is saying that when we create a bear, it'll be put into this array, and it will be appended to this array, and we're going to position it somewhere where it's not outside of the bounds of the window. That's what this function is doing right here. So we're going to do that. The next one is going to be random.randint 0 window height. Height minus foods. I did food again, dang it. Bear size. Bear. I gotta be careful with that. Size. And then bear size. Bear size. So what this is doing is the same thing that we just did with the there we go. It's the same thing we just did up here with the sorry, I'm reading my script at the same time. Stop it. With the player, except for the arguments we're going to place them at random positions, so a number between 0 and the boundaries of the window. So we're going to just place bears all over the place. So after that, we can finally work on the movement variables. This will get our player moving. And let me make sure something's not right here. Okay, I guess it's okay. We'll see, I guess. So move left. We're going to set, these are all Boolean values meaning true or false. We're going to set them all to false to start out because the player's not going to be moving. Oops. It's false. So I'll let you, and then we're going to set the move speed, and I'll go over how these variables are going to work in a bit when we actually put them to use. So this is a constant for the speed. The speed will be 6 pixels, so the player will move 6 pixels every time you hit the keyboard. So now we're finally going to get to the actual game loop, the main program. So we're going to make a boolean called start game equals true, and while start game is equal, that double equal sign actually means equal. This single equal sign technically means gets the value of, so start game gets the value of true, and the double equals is while start game is true. And we're going to put our semicolon, and we're going to check for quit. So for event in pygame.event.get, that function is basically listening for any sort of event like keyboards or mouse click. So we're going to check if event.type equals quit, which is, this is a constant in the library for Pygame, in case you're wondering why it's in caps. So if the event type equals quit, we're going to have Pygame quit, and we're going to have the system exit, which will close the window. So I know this is, for those of you who aren't familiar with programming, this can seem like a lot. Basically, it's checking for every event that might happen, like a keyboard click, a mouse click, anything like that. And this little dot is an accessor. So for every event object, it has something, a variable called a type. And if that type is called quit, it's going to quit. Basically, if someone clicks quit, it quits. That's all you need to know. So for the next part, if event.type equals key down, this is from the, this key down constant is from the Pygame library too. And we're going to set up the keyboard variables. So the key down is not the keyboard thing like the arrow key down. It actually means if a key gets pressed down. So here's the actual keyboard variables. If event.key equals k left, that means the left arrow key. Move right. These are the oops, I forgot I need to capitalize these. So in Python, all Boolean values are capitalized. Forgot to mention that. So if they're moving left, move right is false, and move left is true. So if they're already moving right, they'll stop moving right, and they'll move left. And we're basically going to do this for, I'm just going to copy and paste this because we're going to do this for all the arrow keys. So, oops, shift tab over, other way. Control tab, okay. Just do it the old fashioned way. Oops.